The Awakening of the Wendigo. In the small, isolated town of Hollow Creek, nestled deep within the woods of northern Michigan, the town's residents often spoke in hushed tones about the tale of the Wendigo, a mythological creature born from the melancholic whispers of the winter winds. To the unwary traveler, it was just a story to ward off children from wandering too far into the snow-clad woods. But for those who took the legends seriously, the space between the stories and reality was a thin veil, waiting to be ripped apart. It had been a harsh winter, one of the coldest the town had ever seen. The snow blanketed the landscape in a stark, white silence, growing heavier with each passing day. An unusual chill hung over Hollow Creek as if the long-forgotten spirits of the forest had awakened, grown restless, and were eager to share their resentment against the living. The townsfolk soon noticed livestock disappearing overnight, dragged into the woods, leaving behind only a trail of blood that froze under the relentless cold. One evening, Sterling Harrow, a local hunter known for his bravado, set out with his rifle to find food. Determined to prove his worth and quell the rising panic of his neighbors, he ventured deeper into the woods than ever before. He could hear the lamenting branches of ancient trees and feel the sharp bite of wind against his skin, pulling him further into the heart of the forest where the darkness thickened. After hours of aimless wandering, Sterling stumbled upon a clearing, dominated by an enormous cedar tree whose branches seemed to beckon him closer. The air turned frigid, sinking deep into his bones. He leaned against the trunk, attempting to catch his breath, when he noticed strange markings etched into the bark, symbols of hunger and despair, tropes that spoke of an insatiable appetite. Suddenly, a low growl echoed through the clearing, resonating from the shadows. Sterling's heart raced in his chest as the growl transformed into a bone-chilling chant, a melody that tugged at the corners of his sanity. The air shimmered, morphing reality as the Wendigo emerged from the depths of the forest, its bony, emaciated frame towering over him, covered in matted white fur that glistened with frost. Glowing eyes like embers flickered with malicious hunger, piercing through the dim embrace of twilight. Froze in both fear and awe, Sterling's rifle felt heavy in his hands, an insufficient tool against the beast made flesh from nightmares. The Wendigo's long fingers curled and stretched, clawed hands flexing as if savoring Sterling's very essence. The legend spoke of the Wendigo's insatiable hunger for flesh, but there was more, an ever-deepening drive to consume the souls of its prey, turning them into hollow echoes of their former selves. Panicking, Sterling turned to flee, but the snow crunched underfoot like thunder, alerting the creature to his escape. "I feast on the lost," it screeched, its voice echoing with the malice of the damned. The chilling winds carried its words, wrapping around him like chains, binding him to the ground. He could feel the cold tendrils of despair creeping into his mind, whispering the creature's temptations, the power of the ethereal, the promise of never feeling the pangs of hunger. Desperate to resist, Sterling stumbled over fallen branches, tripping and rolling in the thick snow, feeling it encase him like an icy tomb. But the Wendigo's presence was pervasive, transforming the shadows of the forest into a labyrinth where every sound echoed, and every whisper carried the weight of history, of cannibalism, of vengeance towards humanity. As he crawled forward, he recalled a story passed down from generations, a ritual that could banish the Wendigo back to its slumber. With each breath, the knowledge flooded back, though he could feel its presence narrowing in around him. With a chant barely above a whisper, he stammered the ancient words, pleading to the elements for mercy. For a moment, the shadows flickered, the air grew tense, and the Wendigo paused, its piercing gaze caught up in the ethereal chants. The forest held its breath as ancient powers stirred among the restless trees. As Sterling's voice grew stronger, so did the winds, swirling around him in a tempest that defied winter's hold. But the creature retaliated, a fierce howl ripping through the night, drowning out his words, shattering the fleeting hope lingering in the air. In one last act of desperation, Sterling plunged his rifle into the snow, drew a dagger from his belt, and shattered the winter's grip with a surge of primal force. He invoked the final verse, recalling the tales of old alongside the guttural growls echoing from the shadows. The Wendigo writhed, thrashing against an unimaginable power, its form shifting in agony. But it was too late, the pull of the ancient was stronger than its hunger. With a piercing scream, as if the forest itself mourned, the Wendigo was drawn back into the gaping maw of the frostbitten trees, banished to the realm from whence it originated. The next morning, Hollow Creek awoke to silence, the world outside buried deep in snow, untouched save for Sterling's solitary footprints leading back from the forest. For some, the creature was just a myth, but for others who felt the chill of deeper fears, they knew it had returned to its slumber. Yet, as the seasons changed, they remained vigilant, for the Wendigo was a spirit of hunger, always waiting, lurking within the whispers of the winter wind, ready to awaken once more.